roll call, please.
Aaron Rashba,
Here.
Andrea Jordan.
Here.
Shaquille Ali is not present. Anthony Sujisaka.
Here. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Cover-Ray. There's a paper clip. 1 second. All right, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Peterson, may I ask you to please lead us in the pledge? Thank you, Ms. Peterson. All right, now we have approval of the agenda. The administration recommends approval of the agenda. If there are any questions or amendments, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and we move on to number 5A, board member acknowledgements and commendations. And I guess I have to start on my right.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say I hope everybody in the district, students, families, parents, teachers, staff, administration is off to a great start in this school year. And I just wanted to call out something that's on the agenda that hopefully we will approve. A resolution in commemoration of Attendance Awareness Month next month in September, but definitely want to encourage everyone to start thinking about that now. And I fully believe that getting to school is half the battle, and just the importance of establishing those routines has been something really important in my household to do, get used to things, and just to do your best to get your students to school. Students, get yourselves to school on time every day, unless you are very sick, in which, of course, please do not come. Thank you.
I echo my fellow trustees' sentiments there. The other thing I wanted to add to that is for the parents that are watching or in the crowd, your students are probably bringing home or have brought home information. If they're not providing it to you, you should ask them, because I'm sure it's in their backpacks. I know I've had to ask my daughter a couple times to, did you get a Wednesday folder? Did you get homework today? And so have those conversations with your kids, because sometimes at the end of the day, they're pretty tired and they're forgetful, and sometimes they need a reminder to say, my teacher actually did give me something, and you do have something to sign. And so just a reminder to the parents to ask their children, and honestly ask them how their day was. And that's a segue into, do you have anything in your backpack that you need to show me? So hopefully the school year is going off great, and looking forward to a really amazing rest of the year.
I echo my fellow board trustees' sentiments, and also want to say, I think you're probably going to mention this about back to school night coming up soon, so I'll let her take on those, just tell you the details. And then, as you can all see, I am wearing a nice weather shirt because we are actually having nice weather, so I can't make my usual joke about having a nice, beautiful sunny day out in Daly City, but I am enjoying the weather, and hopefully everyone else is. All right, and we will move on to 5B, superintendent comments. Superintendent Coley.
Yes, so reminder to families that Monday is Labor Day. We'll be observing, so the whole district will be closed, including district office. So remind everyone not to come to school on Monday. Also, as you mentioned, back to school night for elementary school is next Thursday, September 5th. And it is elementary schools, but several of our elementary schools already had back to school night before school started. So the 5 schools will have back to school night at elementary: Franklin D. Roosevelt, Garden Village, MP Brown, MH Tobias, and Thomas Edison. So check your school for times. The following week, September 11th, will be all middle school back to school night as well. So just want to remind families of that. We are just wrapping up almost 2 exact weeks of school, and as we get closer to finalizing enrollment this week, we've actually seen a drop of nearly 200 students compared to last year. While we did anticipate this decrease and staffed our schools accordingly, the decline in our kinder enrollment was not what we expected. So next Wednesday, we will be sharing this information with the Superintendent's Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee to address these enrollment shifts, because that will impact our funding for next year, not this year. It's great to have 35 members, committee members on this Superintendent Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee joining our district administration. So that's on top of the district admin that will be there, as well as the 2 board representatives to help with this important work. So really excited about that committee meeting next Wednesday at 5. The public is welcome to attend. They just cannot be a voting member on the committee, but they're welcome to come and observe. Over the weekend, unfortunately, Ben Franklin had a major vandalism with 40 classroom windows broken. The police are investigating and have a person of interest and are working towards a potential arrest after contacting the individual and evaluating all the evidence. So we're hopeful that this will come to an end for us. I'm really grateful to our maintenance staff for their quick response and quick action to clean up before students entered their classrooms. And I'm also really proud of the Ben Franklin administration, staff, and students. They showed amazing resilience and support for each other as a community. So I was really pleased with that. Also to remind families, we're having part of our funding is through applying for free and reduced lunch applications. So even if you don't qualify, we encourage you to apply because that does support district-wide funding for our students and for programs. We are doing a drawing through our Kids First Education Foundation. So we have a bicycle that people can win, all sorts of prizes coming. And so even if you don't qualify, you still get entered into the drawing through Kids First Education Foundation. So we encourage everyone to fill out that meal plan application because that will help support funding for our district. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Superintendent McCulloch. All right, now we are going to move on to item 5C, persons wishing to address the board. Ms. Covere, do we have any speakers? Thank you. This portion of the agenda is available for individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. With none being here, we will move on to item 6, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval of the following consent starred agenda items. Are there any amendments to the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Bye-bye to a third of our agenda, more like half. All right, and we go on to item 7A, CSBA, call for nominations for directors at large. CSBA is seeking nominations for directors at large, African American, American Indian, and county. The administration recommends that the board considers making a nomination. Nominations are due to the superintendent by September 10th, 2025 for consideration at the September 24th board meeting. This is submitted for the board's information.
So this is not necessarily a discussion item, but we just wanted to make sure that you and the public were aware. So please just get that to me. If you do have a recommendation for a nomination, please get it to me by September 10th.
Excellent. Thank you, Superintendent McCulloch. All right, and we move on to item 7B, resolution number 250827, Attendance Awareness Month, September 2025. The administration recommends adoption of resolution number 250827, recognizing September 25th as Attendance Awareness Month and supporting activities to increase awareness of the importance of daily attendance. All right, I shall now read the resolution. All right, resolution number 250827, Attendance Awareness Month, September 2025. Whereas strong school attendance is essential for academic achievement and the Jefferson Elementary School District is committed to reducing chronic absenteeism, and whereas chronic absence defined as 10% or more of the school year, which equates to just 2 or 3 days a month, whether excused or unexcused, is a well-documented early indicator of academic struggles. Whereas students who are chronically absent in kindergarten and first grade are significantly less likely to read at grade level by the end of third grade, increasing their risk of course failure, dropping out, and long-term negative impacts on the community. And whereas improving school attendance and reducing chronic absenteeism require a coordinated community effort to promote the value of daily attendance to identify and address barriers that prevent students from getting to school. And whereas California Local Control Funding Formula, LCFF, requires school districts to track attendance and establish measurable goals and targeted actions to reduce chronic absenteeism. And whereas chronic absence disproportionately affects low-income students, widening the achievement gap and impacting their academic progress and social development. And whereas effect to improve school climate, reduce lost instructional time due to disciplinary action, and implement school-wide strategies such as positive behavior interventions, restorative practices, and other supports can lead to significant gains in student attendance. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Jefferson Elementary School District Board of Trustees hereby declare the month of September 2025 as Attendance Awareness Month and supports activities to increase awareness of the importance of daily attendance, especially in the early grades, pre-K through 3.
If
All
I
right.
may make a comment on that. As I mentioned earlier about our enrollment, our funding is directly tied to enrollment as well as attendance. So we get a percentage of our enrollment. So if we do not have students attending regularly, we only get funding for the students that are attending regularly. So attendance is not only important for students in learning in the classroom, it is also critical for our funding. And so that's why we're making sure that we have this resolution, a way to emphasize the importance of attendance for a student's future and their educational experience and good habit building, as well as securing funding for our district.
Thank you, Superintendent McCullough.
Could I ask the measure mentions activities to increase attendance? Can you give any examples of some of those activities that'll be taking place?
Yes, so a lot of it is messaging, so through newsletters, through Class Dojo, through school communications with teachers to students. A lot of it is messaging that we receive and get ideas from the county, as well as there's an organization called Attendance Works. We do it through our social media. It's connecting with families, having meetings with families that we're seeing that there's habits that are needing to be supported, to see, is it transportation, what is the root cause of the attendance, lack of attendance, and then just doing rewards and ceremonies, recognizing students that are coming to school regularly and celebrating that, and so every site does something different. It depends on what the site's goals are for that year, but every site is focused on increasing average daily attendance and making sure that we reduce chronic absenteeism, which we did last year. We reduced by over 4%. That was huge, and so we just need to increase, and we have been increasing, but we really need to increase a lot more of our average daily attendance because we want students to perform. There is strong correlation between academic performance and daily attendance. Students that are here almost every day, they have higher test scores and they perform better in school. And so because of that, it's really important that we emphasize average daily attendance or daily attendance so that students can be successful, and it gives us funding to help support students more.
Any other questions? I had a quick question. I was wondering, have we, I know PBIS rewards used to be a thing. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, all of our schools are involved in positive behavior intervention supports, or PBIS. And so there's rewards for positive behavior, including attendance, things like that. And so every school follows those practices.
Excellent. Thank you. No further questions from me. All right. With that being said, this is a resolution, so we need a motion, or if there's any discussion or further questions.
I'm happy to motion for Resolution 250827 to make September of 2005 Attendance Awareness Month.
2025,
Oh,
yes?
2025.
Happy to second that motion.
Excellent. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Covray, if you may.
Mr. Rashba?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. September will be Attendance Awareness Month. All right, item 7C, appointment of members to Citizens Oversight Committee. The administration recommends the board reappoint the following members to the Citizens Oversight Committee: Thomas Nuris, Business Representative; Annette Shreve, at-large Community Member; Dong Tran, Parent Representative; and Jessica Wan, Parent Representative. Is there any discussion? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to move to appoint the members of the Citizens Oversight Committee. I'd like to thank each and every one of them for their service and performing this important oversight role.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 7D, 2025-2026, AFT Local 3267, Renewal Contract Proposition Sunshine and Schedule of Public Hearing. A public hearing will be held on September 10th, 2025, on the renewal contract proposal of AFT Local 3267 for the 2025-2026. AFT is proposing to open negotiations on Article 2, wages, Article 3, hours of employment, Article 6, health and welfare, Article 10, class size, and Article 11, evaluation. The administration recommends acknowledging the receipt of direct sunshining and distribution for public review, the renewal contract proposal of AFT Local 3267 for 2025-2026, as required by the RADA Act. If there's any discussion, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 7E, 2025-2026, JESD counter proposal to AFT Local 3267, renewal contract proposal, sunshine, and schedule of public hearing. A public hearing will be held on September 10th, 2025, on the renewal contract counter proposal for JESD for 2025-2026. JESD is proposing to open negotiations on Article 2, wages, Article 3, hours of employment, Article 6, health and welfare, Article 9, safety, and Article 10, class size. The administration recommends acknowledging the receipt of direct sunshining and distribution for public review, the renewal contract counter proposal of JESD to AFT Local 3267 for 2025-2026, as required by the RADA Act. If there's any discussion, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 7F, 2025 to 2028, CSEA Chapter 233, Successor Contract Proposal Sunshine and Schedule a Public Hearing. A public hearing will be held on September 10th, 2025 to receive public input on the successor contract proposal of CSEA Chapter 233 for 2025 through 2028. The CSEA is proposing to open negotiations on Article 5, wages, Article 6, health and welfare benefits, Article 7, holidays, Article 11, leaves of absence, Article 15, vacation, Article 16, evaluation, and Article 17, miscellaneous provisions. The administration recommends acknowledging the receipt of direct sunshining and distribution for public review, the successor contract proposal of CSEA Chapter 233 for 2025-2028 as required by the RADA Act. If there is any discussion, otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 7G, 2025-2028, JESD counterproposal to CSEA Chapter 233, Successor Contract Proposal, Sunshine, and Schedule a Public Hearing. A public hearing will be held on September 10th, 2025 to receive public input on JESD's counterproposal to CSEA Chapter 233, Successor Contract Proposal for 2025-2028. JESD is proposing to open negotiations on Article 5, wages, Article 6, health and welfare benefits, Article 7, holidays, Article 8, hours and conditions of employment, Article 11, leaves of absence, Article 15, vacation, and Article 16, evaluation. The administration recommends acknowledging the receipt of direct sunshining and distribution for public review, the successor contract counterproposal for JESD to CSEA, Chapter 233 for 2025-2028 as required by the RADA Act.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, we move on to item 8A, Board Governance Workshop Discussion / Action. The administration is seeking direction in planning the board governance workshop facilitation and intended outcomes to be scheduled for January/February of 2026. Superintendent McCulloch, if you could.
Yes, so at our last meeting, we talked about some ideas for our governance workshop. And so as we plan for it, if we are going to have an outside facilitator, we do need to reserve them and seek them now. And so I am wondering if you would like an outside facilitator and who that you would like, because we've worked with different facilitators in the past. And I would also like some direction beyond the working on the self-evaluation. There was a mention at the last meeting to dig into other issues the board is dealing with, and so having some clarity around what those issues might be. So going back to the facilitator, we have worked with Deborah Sims from CSBA. We have also worked with the consultant Nicole Anderson. And then also, if there's another consultant that you have in mind that you would like to propose for us to seek, or having me facilitate the meeting as well. So those are some options, and then that way we can schedule with the facilitator and once we have direction on what we would like. So let's start with that. Is there one of those people you would like me to pursue? Either CSBA, Nicole Anderson, who worked with us last year, or someone else, or myself. So I'll let you have a discussion, and then we'll go on to the next part of it.
So just for a little bit of background, like we were discussing during our board planning meeting about which one to choose, and so I felt like, since I think there are usually other board members that are also present who tend to have more stronger opinions about it, that's why I wanted to bring it to the whole board to have a discussion to see if anyone feels a certain way. I mean, I think we all work well with whoever we choose. I think it's more just if there's anyone that we have worked with, or an option is we could work with Superintendent McCulloch. Since, we don't need really much mediation between, well, any of us, I don't think, but then also especially with her, that's also an option.
So I don't have a preference. I understand that if we were to retain a consultant, it's going to cost money. So obviously, I like the idea of not having to pay it, but I also like the idea of having a neutral party. I think I'm a little, I don't have a strong opinion on it because prior to, I think Deborah, who was the year before, we had someone for a very long time, and it was, I don't know, the way it flowed was just, well, I'm not saying that it didn't with the other two, but it just, I don't have a strong enough opinion on which one is better because I haven't worked enough with either of them to make a decision on them one being better than the other, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Thank you. So I have appreciated the contributions of the consultants that we've had in the last two sessions that I've participated in. Yet my opinion is that we should not have a consultant with this, this planning meeting. I really feel like it's time to shake things up in the way that this has been done. I have felt overall that we were not as effective as we could have been. And I think as a result of having a consultant, we're a little bit slowed down in that there's a lot of time needed to explain how we work and what we do. And I really think that this could be homegrown. I think that Superintendent McCulloch can serve as our leader and our facilitator. I think that there are parts of this that we as board members can peer lead. So that's my opinion.
I guess the question would be, we would need to figure out an agenda because I think depending on what we are discussing, there may be some things that we may need guidance on from a outside standpoint, and if it's really us focusing on, and I know we were talking about like the board goals, we were talking about our mission, which I don't think we've really adjusted in totality since we've had a new board. If we're doing the focus on that, then I agree that we don't need a consultant. But if we're starting to talk about things outside of that, then possibly, just because you may not know the answer and you may need to consult. So I just being cognizant of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying about like if we didn't have an outside consultant, although sometimes it's very rare, but sometimes they don't know the answer either as well. And I also think the point that Aaron made about how Superintendent McCulloch does know us, there's less of that. And not that they don't, like the consultants don't know us because we've worked with them before, but you know, they also work with other boards. They have a lot of other things to keep track. And usually we have like, I think I've had an hour call with one of them. And usually they do that when they're first, I don't know if you all remember that, they usually call us like to schedule and so that we have to talk to them. And not that that's something I'm not open to, but yeah, so she knows more of the work that we are currently doing. She knows where we're at and then can kind of facilitate what kind of growth that we more need internally. Yeah, that's my opinion.
So maybe just background on the call. So the person that we had worked with for a very long time, her name was Luann. That was really a call to, from an outside standpoint, to understand before they came into the meeting if we were having any issues with each other. And so obviously the board changes all the time. And so that's necessary to figure out like, hey, is there anything going on? So I hear you with superintendent, I guess, knowing, but she may or may not know depending on, again, outside conversations that are happening with one-on-one trustees to make sure that we're not breaking the Brown Act. So I hear you. I guess my statement still stands on, I agree if the agenda is focused on internal things that don't require advice or guidance from CSBA based on, you know, rules, or we now need someone from legal or whatever that is. I would agree that we don't need one, but if the agenda is broader than that, then I'm not sure I'm comfortable with just having Superintendent McCulloch be the mediator or the consultant, not consultant.
Facilitator.
Facilitator, there we go, thank you.
So why don't we maybe then move on to talking about what the agenda could look like and then circle back to that, because that might help make that decision, or that basically give me that guidance. So we did talk about looking at the board self-evaluation, which is basically our board governance handbook. It was taken out of there. And so identifying what I was envisioning, if I were to facilitate it, is that we took the board self-evaluation statements and had each board member write what that success criteria would look like, and then having conversations about calibrating that. So coming to consensus about what that means. And if there was a statement that we said, this is not really something we can measure or necessary, then we would remove that from a future board evaluation, self-evaluation. So that would be one component. Then my other question was, there was the comment about digging into other issues that Mr. Trustee Rashba has suggested. So what would those other issues be? Because then that can help us think, well, what kind of facilitation will we need? Is it something that I could do, or is it something we would need outside? So it would be, one part would be self-evaluation, and then the other part would be, and it would be addressing mission and kind of really revising that and looking at that, because those are in our self-evaluation. And then what would be the other topics to discuss that you want to dig into, because then that'll help determine, is that something we want to do in-house, or is that something we would need an outside facilitator? So I'll leave that over to you.
I will comment on that. I have had some thoughts on, you know, what I thought that we might be valuable to dig into, and I would approach this from the standpoint of a study session, to not, you know, make decisions about these items, but to really take an in-depth look at what I see are three key issues, and that is the budget and long-term planning issues. And by that point, we will have had about half of the meetings, and, you know, have done quite a bit of work. So that could take the form of me and Trustee Ali providing an update summary, since we will be serving on that committee. But I think digging into those results, having some reflection on what we've learned so far and what we want to achieve for the rest of the year. I think that the curriculum issues that we've discussing and the UDL framework, we're constantly being educated on that, thanks to great presentations from Ms. Scott and others. But I just think that this is a good chance to take a concentrated look at, where are we on the journey of implementing this, learning more, reflecting. And I was just the issue of the faculty and, the changes that we've made to the Wednesday schedule and collaboration, even faculty staff housing, how well that was a major initiative for our district. Like, how well is that performing and meeting the needs of the faculty and staff? Those are the three categories that came to mind for me.
So as you mentioned that brought up an idea of a facilitator in Lynette Hodson, who is facilitating the Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee, and that maybe we ask her, add on to her contract and see if she would be willing to facilitate a process about what's been happening with the committee, with the board. So that's an option too. These are three big things, and I don't know if we'd want to tackle them all in one meeting. So since the Budget Advisory Facilities Committee is happening and we already have someone, then maybe that is an idea. I'm just throwing that out as a suggestion because she will have worked with the committee and will have facilitated, and then that way she could be part of facilitating a process of understanding for the board of where we are, because that will be about, we'd have September, October, November, January, probably 4 meetings we'll have had halfway through. So that might be a good midway point to have as just kind of a study session on what's happening so far. That's a possibility. I'm just throwing that out there because it just sparked when you said that.
I just want to appreciate that we're having a discussion about what the agenda will be, because like I said, what I don't want to do is come into that and then put you in a situation where you're like, I'm going to have to get back to you, right? And so that was really my goal of, like, I'm happy to have the session. I think for specific topics like budget or housing, I would feel more comfortable having someone that's their focus, just because they will more than likely have those answers, and we can ask questions and go back and forth to make sure that we get the answers we need, and determine how we can assist with what is happening on the ground in our school and our districts.
All right, so this is an action item, so by the end of this conversation, we should have a motion of some sort.
So I guess the question is do we agree with Superintendent McCulloch's suggestion to focus on budget and for her to see if we can increase her contract,
Lynette
Hodson's contract, to facilitate in addition to superintendent, so that way it's first we start off with what we discussed, and then we have her come in and talk through the budget and facilities, and is that the topic that we want to discuss, or do we want to address any of the other two that Trustee Rashba brought up?
I guess my question is if we already have a committee that is working on budget and long-term planning, why are we focusing? Not that we shouldn't focus on it, we should understand it. It's if we already have a committee that is going to be advising us, which again, then we have to make a decision based on them. Why would we also, on top of that, be doing double the work for that committee?
So I, first of all, can appreciate that the 3 topics may be too much to take on in a single session. So, streamlining might be important. And I would be supportive of having an outside facilitator, if we thought that was important and would add value. I was really thinking initially of just trying to make this a little bit different, going forward. But responding to your point, Trustee Sujisaka, I think that I see this as the biggest issue for our board in, the this coming school year and down the line. And I think it would be good for all of us board members to take stock of what's been done so far and do some study of it. I could see us having a pre-reading type of assignment where we learn more about the issue to date, and perhaps some study coming after the governance session where we might, it's a good point, I think, in that we're midway through, and we, as a board collectively, could take a look at how is the process going so far? Is there anything that we want to learn or adjust in the second half of the year? And then I think that we can direct the committee a little bit better in their coming work.
I actually 100% agree with that. I will say that I often feel like because I'm not a part of certain committees, I only get the after, and I'm not, when it's like, well, what does the board think? I'm like, well, I don't really know if I have anything to add to it because I wasn't there and I'm not involved and I don't have all the details. And so I would love to do a deep dive on something that I know is going to affect us, financially, as well as obviously the way our facilities look, especially after the vandalism that we just had at Ben Franklin. So I support us focusing on budget and facilities if, obviously, as a board, we agree to that.
And again, just one last question about it. So just to be clear, so if we are going to be going with the board or the budget like as our focus, so I guess I'm just still not clear on what work we would be doing that would not be undermining the work that is being done by the advisory committee. So again, and I'm sure there is a difference, I'm just not understanding what the difference is. So what is the difference between what they're doing? Or maybe I'm also misunderstanding it completely, as in we're not doing any work, we're just getting updated on what they have done. And so that, as you said, we're not completely out of the loop.
I think what it is an education to us to better understand holistically as a board, except for, and not just two or one board member, however many members are on that committee. And then for us to be able to give educated feedback versus just in a board meeting getting, well, we had a budget and facilities meeting and this is what we decided upon. Well, great. But again, I don't have anything to add to that because I wasn't there, I didn't understand all the things. So the idea of like the homework, now I'm diving deeper, I'm coming in with full understanding, not just attending a meeting, I'm being educated, I'm coming in saying, oh, did you guys do this? Giving ideas outside of just hearing what has been done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like, if I could give an example before you speak. So like, kind of like how I'm on the housing board committee. Rather than just coming and just saying, here's what's happened, and just expecting you all to just kind of go with it, you're kind of getting updates of what has been going on. Okay, so we're not like doing the work for the committee. We are, okay, that is all my clarifying was actually, that's all I needed.
Yeah, I think the focus here is on learning for the board about what the issues are, taking a really deep dive, and maybe pursuing alignment with the committee. This committee is going to work for the bulk of the school year on studying and coming up with recommendations to us. And at the end of the day, it will be our decision to approve or not follow through with the recommendations that they make. So I think that we could make it a more useful experience for the committee. And, if by that point we are not in alignment, perhaps we can identify that earlier than when we need to make a decision on the recommendations.
Thank you for both of your explanations. I am now very clear on what we are doing, and I definitely support what you are saying about. So with that being said, we do need a motion if that is the direction we are going to go.
How would you like us to make this motion? Are we making a motion for the agenda? Are we making a motion on the direction of a consultant and you? I just want to make sure that I say this correctly.
Yeah, so it sounds like you would like the focus to be on the Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee kind of educational experience outcomes so far mid-year. Having Lynette Hodson, who is facilitating the other committee, we seek to see if she is interested in doing a facilitation with us, in addition to doing the board self-evaluation that I could facilitate. Or we could ask her, she does facilitation, we could ask her to do both. So, yes, does that make sense?
Yes. Motion to approve board governance workshop to be scheduled for sometime in January or February of 2026 with a focus on the Budget and Facilities Advisory Committee education for the board as to be facilitated by Lynette Hodson and possible facilitation of the board evaluation review, which will go into our mission and board goals, and possibly also that being facilitated by Superintendent McCulloch.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 9A, June 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates, second reading. The board will review and revise board policies/administrative regulations/board bylaws from June 2025 CSBA Board Policy Updates as stated in a second reading. If there are any discussion, if there's any discussion, otherwise I will entertain a motion.
Just want to make a comment. Number one, I appreciate you being on the policy review with me, and then I also wanted just to say thank you to, Superintendent McCulloch and Ms. Coveray for reading through all of that and getting our feedback and adjusting it. It's a lot of pages of review, and so just thank you for your dedication and us getting this done. And with that, if there are no other comments or discussions, I motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and we get down to item 10, governance team member comments, report, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. And I will start on my right.
Great. Well, I wanted to acknowledge a very productive meeting that we had focused on student safety. And this is part of a subcommittee that Trustee Ali and I serve on, and Superintendent McCulloch and Stephanie Martinez attended, along with the 3 police chiefs in our jurisdiction, Chief Christensen, Chief Muncie, and Chief Connolly, along with Commander Lum of the Colma Police Department. And this was a really productive conversation and the second meeting that we've had, and we're grateful that the police departments have wanted to be partners with us on reinforcing student safety to students and parents, and they have already come through by making a great video on getting your kids to school safely, which was shown at the last board meeting. And our conversation centered around continuing that kind of partnership on messaging and different types of the year, different times of the year. October is National Bullying Awareness Month, and so we discussed making that part of our messaging. I know, welcome Trustee Ali. I know he'll have more comments as well on this meeting. But we then talked about November, December as an important time to come back to transportation with darker weather, rainier weather, safety there, and then doing something in the winter time, perhaps around cyber safety, cyber bullying, keeping kids safe on their digital devices. So I think this is a budding partnership that we will continue to develop throughout this school year. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to you and Trustee Ali for continuing that discussion. Safety, obviously, even after the vandalism, it's constantly coming up. Students going to school, walking to school, being safe in their environment. It's just so important that they feel safe. They feel like they have people in the community that are looking out for them, and knowing that we have, police, public safety, doing the work to make sure that we're keeping that top of mind is just extremely important. So just want to thank you for the hard work that you guys are doing there and continuing that conversation. Reminder, there's no school on Monday. Have a wonderful 3-day weekend.
All right, Trustee Ali. So do you have any board meeting reflection that you'd like to add?
All right, well, better late than never, but as you all heard already, we've been very busy meeting with the chiefs of this area and making sure that we're proactive about our students' safety, not just before and after school, but just, at all times. And then today we visited a couple schools, Westlake and Ben Franklin, and we're looking forward to getting out and doing more site visits at least once a month. Thank you.
And again, as you said, better late than never. We always appreciate having you here and your input. Anyway, so happy first days of school, everybody. We really appreciate all the hard work that is going into schools. That since this is our first board meeting since school has started, so we really appreciate you all. Thank you to all the administrators who are in the audience, way in the back. I could barely see all of you. Also, did they mention that if you're not seeing the camera, this doesn't count? I'm just kidding. Anyway, but it is a good choice of meeting to come to. Very, very good choice. One thing I would actually like to suggest, and yeah, I'll let you speak. I just wanted to suggest that for the next meeting, since I'll have had a JESD Housing Board meeting, if I may do a report out.
This time you would do it, yeah.
Wait, sorry?
During
during
this
this time.
time
Okay.
is when you would do
So
it.
yeah, if we, I will do my best to remember to add that
I'll
in there.
remind
But
you.
yeah, thank you. And then, yeah, that's everything for me. And then did you?
Yes, I just wanted to comment, in August, we had 2 meetings and they finished very quickly. And so I'm going to propose in our calendar for next calendar year for the board that we do 1 meeting in August, because I think we probably can consolidate everything into one, because this is not normal. But just so that, just to give you a heads up that I will be proposing that for the future. I don't think we need 2 meetings in August. And happy Labor Day for everyone. And we just had a great start to the year. We've had some hiccups here and there, but I've been just really proud of our staff and our community for having a really great start to the year.
Excellent. So now I'd like to take 20 minutes of filibustering to talk about the weather. This is a very important issue in our community, and I think we really need to have a long conversation about it. But with that motion, or meeting adjourned at 7:46 p.m.